All right, so we have the 53-man roster today, and it has officially been announced 2 hours and 14 minutes late from recording of this video. So come on, Detroit Lions, get it together. But officially at 4 o'clock, they did turn it in, and at 6 o'clock, they did release it. Now, we're going to start. I am going to read it off my phone. So at the quarterback position, Jared Goff and Teddy Bridgewater made the team. The odd man out was Adrian Martinez, who he was waived. Now, the Detroit Lions also put Hendon Hooker on the non-football injury list, and they put on IR the reserve injured is Nate Sudfeld. Now, I have no qualms with it. Now, I did think that Adrian Martinez could have made it. Obviously, if they wanted to keep 3, but we'll see what happens when it comes to the practice squad as well as, the teams that are cutting their players as well. We could pick some of those guys up and maybe fill that third quarterback spot. I know a guy I'm looking at is maybe Marcus Mariota as a third quarterback, but we'll see what happens when that time comes. Now, on the roster, the Detroit Lions actually went very, 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 very light at the running back position. They have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery with Jason Kabinda. So only 3 running backs, and one of them is a fullback. So 2 running backs and 1 fullback. Craig Reynolds did get cut. Jamar Jefferson waived on the injury. And Devin Ozigbo and Benny Snell Jr. got released as well. Injured reserve is Mohamed Ibrahim. And also at the wide receiver. Now, going backtrack real quick at the running back position, Benny Snell was the guy I thought that they were going to keep. I thought they would have kept Benny Snell and possibly Craig Reynolds. And, they would have went with those 4 guys. Now, they did go light at the position. Obviously, this is the initial 53-man roster. Now, this can still change. I want to make this clear from now until September 7th. I mean, it could definitely change. So we'll see what happens with that, if they're going to only keep 2 running backs and a fullback. But I told you guys all that my fullback is going to make it, and that is Jason Kabinda. Everybody was dogging me for, my fullbacks, all jokes aside. But, hey, Jason Kabinda did enough to make the roster. But that goes back to the background of Dan Campbell. He loves fullbacks just as well as his teacher loved fullbacks in Sean Payton. So, and you could go back even to their teacher in former Giants and former pupil of Bill Belichick. I can't remember his name, but he always mentions it in his interviews. Put it in the chat if you remember the head coach's name that I'm trying to remember from the Giants. Also was the mentor to Bill Belichick. Now, wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marvin Jones Jr., Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, and Antoine Green made the roster. I was rooting for Antoine Green, but the surprise cut is Dylan Drummond. Chase Cota was waived on an injury settlement. And Maurice Alexander, Trinity Benson, Jason Moore, and Avery Davis. And then reserve/suspended, obviously, is Jameson Williams. Now, like I said, the 2 surprise cuts was Dylan Drummond and Chase Cota. I thought that they were going to make the roster. I mean, I knew kind of how the way that Maurice Alexander played in that 3rd game that he wasn't going to make it. But Drummond and Chase Cota, I mean, I thought that they did enough in practice and during preseason that at least warranted the initial 53-man roster. Now, the Detroit Lions are going with 3 tight ends, and that is Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, and James Mitchell. Daniel Helm and Daryl Daniels did get cut, and reserved on injury list is obviously out for the year is Shane Zylstra. Obviously, there's nothing, nothing out the normal. I knew those 3 guys were going to make it. We'll keep 3. Offensive line. Now, we kept 8. That is Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow, Halapalooty, Vitae Vitae, Panay Sewell, Graham Glasgow, Matt Nelson, and Kobe Sorsdahl did make the roster. Now the cuts is, hopefully I say this guy's name correctly, Kyoto Owasaki, and Jermaine Ifedi, Bobby Hart, Alex Mollett, Ryan Sowaboda, Max Percher, Brad Cecile, Obina Ize, Darren Paulo, and Connor Galvin. They all got released. That's basically all I thought that was going to make it. Now, I am a little upset that Jermaine Ifedi did get released. I thought we would have kept 2 backup tackles. And I thought Jermaine Ifedi would have been the right tackle backup, where Matt Nelson would have been the backup left tackle. But they're going a little lighter at the tackle. I mean, nothing too crazy, though. Now, the defensive line, they actually went 12. I was actually shocked when I first read this, that they went 12 guys. Aiden Hutchinson, Charles Harris, Aleem McNeil, Isaiah Buggs, John Kaminsky, Josh Pascal, James Houston, Broderick Martin, Romeo Okwara, Julian Okwara, Levi Onwuzurike, and Benito Jones. They all made the roster. Christian Covington, Corey Durden, and Chris Smith all was released. Now, the way I think that why we kept 12 is because I have it as maybe Romeo and Julian possibly getting packaged up for a trade down the line. Now, this is just my speculation. This is not, nobody's really talked about it. Not that I think of, but if somebody did, put it in the comment section below as well. But I think we kept 12 because those 2 guys could possibly get traded. And then maybe we can add more running backs because that's kind of scary only having 2. Especially at the running back position. That scares me. But Christian Covington, like I said, that was a little bit of a surprise for me. But obviously, keeping 12 guys already, that's not a surprise. Corey Durden, Chris Smith, 2 guys that can land on practice squad and develop. Now, the Lions did keep 6. Now, this one did not surprise me at all, and that is Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jalen Reeves-Maben, and Anthony Pittman. The lone guy that got released is Trevor Nowatzki, guy that can make a practice squad and develop. But there's no surprise there. I absolutely love the linebacking room outside of maybe an upgrade at Anthony Pittman. But, hey, I'm not going to complain about the last linebacker on the roster. As long as our starters and a backup or 2 is good, I'm good with it. The Lions kept 11 secondary. That was a little surprising to me as well. I thought we would have kept maybe 11, 12-ish around there. But a guy that actually made the roster, I didn't think that was going to make it, is Khalil Dorsey. Now, Cam Sutton, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Kirby Joseph, Emmanuel Mosley did get activated today. So he is activated and he is able to play week 1 if we choose to throw him out there in week 1. So Emmanuel Mosley, a.k.a. E-Man, hey, welcome back, my brother. Jerry Jacobs, Brian Branch, Will Harris made the roster. Tracy Walker, Efetu Melifonwu, Stephen Gilmore, a guy that I was actually rooting for, did make the roster. And Khalil Dorsey, like I said, I was actually surprised he made it. I thought, Starling Thomas the 5th that got cut, Chase Lucas that got cut. I thought those 2 guys could have fought for that last spot, but Khalil Dorsey, I guess, did enough to make it. Obviously, I could see Starling Thomas and Chase Lucas making the practice squad. Kobe Richardson also got cut. Brady Breeze, Brandon Joseph. I think Brandon Joseph is a guy to keep an eye out for the practice squad if he does not get claimed. And Scott Nelson also got cut. Now, our specialist, the only one that got cut is John Parker Romo. That leaves Riley Patterson winning the kicking job. and John Fox as our punter, and Scott Daly. Obviously, we already knew he made it when we released McQuaid. But outside of that, that is your 53-man roster. I do think that, the Lions could put John Parker Romo possibly on practice squad. Now, there is rumors that we are looking for another kicker. I don't know how much legs there is to that. I'll believe it when I see it, because obviously there's a rumor floating around that Mike Evans is supposed to come to Detroit. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be that stupid to let go of their, 1A and 1B type of receiver. So, I mean, I digress, I guess, really. I'll believe it when I see it is what I'm saying. So, I mean, John Parker Romo I could see on the practice squad. Starling Thomas, Chase Lucas, Brandon Joseph, Trevor Nowaski, Corey Durden, Chris Smith, I can see on practice squad. Who else on the offensive line? I could see Ryan Sabota, Max Percher. I think that he'll be on that special team list where if you're an international player, you could be placed on this roster spot on the practice squad, but you cannot go on the active roster. So your season is done. You can practice with the Detroit Lions on their practice squad, and it does not count on the practice squad. So, the Lions got two positions of a third quarterback that will not count towards the active roster, but can be on the roster, active roster. And then the international player that they can be on the practice squad, but they cannot, if they go into that position, they cannot get elevated to main roster. So I could see him getting there. Brad Cecile, Obene Ize, I could all see. Connor Galvin, being a rookie, I could see him being on the practice squad. I don't really think a tight end will make the practice squad. I could be wrong, though. But Dylan Drummond, Chase Cota, Maurice Alexander, and possibly even Trinity Benson can make the practice squad. Craig Reynolds, definitely a guy that should make the practice squad or something, because, I don't know why we got rid of him and only keeping 3 running backs again. Jamar Jefferson, again, could be added later. Now, he is on a injured settlement, so with the injured settlement, they have to wait till that injury settlement time is up, and then they can sign him. But he can be free to sign anywhere come tomorrow. So, it's a double-edged sword that you're playing with, but, if he's injured for 6 weeks, the Detroit Lions will pay him for 6 weeks. He cannot be signed back by the Lions, even if he clears waivers for 6 weeks. So I could see Jefferson coming back. I could see Benny Snell coming back on practice squad. I'm very high on Benny Snell. Like, I'm kind of mad that we got rid of him, and that's because the kid can do a lot. He could block in pass protection. He can run up the gut, power runner. He can catch out the backfield. He does a lot. He can play special teams. I really thought this kid would have been a lock, but I digress. He didn't make his squad, but I could see him making practice squad. And obviously, Adrian Martinez, I could see also making the practice squad. But that does it for your 53-man roster. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. With that being said, y'all already know what to do. We are trying to start the season come September 7th at 1,100 subscribers. Hopefully we could get there. Not a rush, but hopefully. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video, because grit don't quit. One pride, baby. Peace. Man, crazy stuff happened on this 53-man roster. Definitely want to hear your thoughts.